Alright guys, alright, I just want to get this together. Okay, so many of you guys probably know who this is. This is Celina SpookyBoo. She's going to go in and talk to you guys about bullying. we're going to watch her thing all the way through, and then I'm going to do my commentary. I started off, this is like the second or third time I recorded this, but I think my internet sucks if I stop. So I tried doing it, and it was like all messing up, and it was like so horrible and irritating. So we're just going to watch everything she talks about, because it resonates, and then I'm going to say what I want to say, and then that will be it. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, while you're at it, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, as well as, guys, hit Celina up if you haven't already. I'll put her the link to this video down in the description, so you guys can go ahead and you just click on it and then go to her channel and then subscribe to her. So she doesn't really need the subscribers, just trust me, she is very popular. If you haven't heard about her, then you are missing out on some great content. But yes, so I fast forward a little bit because she was talking about a movie her and her friend were doing, and it's she finally got a trailer going, and so yeah, she's getting going somewhere. So yeah, but let's go ahead and get into it. So you may hear her say, instead of saying like 9th grade, like here we do in America, she says grade 9. So I think it's because they're up I think she lives in Canada, or from Canada, and I think that's where that correlation comes from. So just so you guys know. Alright, so let's just watch it together. You will probably see my reactions without me talking, but yeah, because I resonate with this a lot. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna try my best to I don't have YouTube Premium, so guys, if there's a commercial that pops up, I'm gonna try my best to try to figure out how to I guess skip over it, pause it, edit, I don't know. But yeah, okay, so let's go. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Sit them down. Enjoy Boo Crew. Can't wait to see you in theater! Ah! September is here, and for a lot of Canadian kids are back in school, and a lot of American kids are already back in school, but Boo Crew, today we're going to talk about something a little bit serious. I was scrolling Facebook, and I saw the face of this beautiful little girl, and her name was Cara. Here's a quick little clip.
I'm going to talk about bullies.
Cara is a 13-year-old in America in grade 8 who is going through it. The truth is she's being bullied quite extensively. Something that she talks about in her video is the fact that, she stress eats. Amen. Same here. She says she's a bigger girl, and people are absolutely horrible to her. It's 2024, and it blows my mind that this kind of thing is still happening. Am I surprised? No, but I thought that by now there would have been something in place to stop these kind of things from happening. Cara seems like a really wonderful person, but her story is not unique, unfortunately. So if you have young kids, if you have high school students, if you have college kids, heck, if you work in an office environment, you know that bullying happens, and maybe it's time to sit you down and the rest of the people around you, because I want to tell you my story. You can tell by looking at me that I am also not a small person, and so what? I went to 3 different high schools. High school was not an easy, kind, and nice time to me, and it didn't just start there. It did start when I was around her age. Once you hit grade 8, you are that huge fish in that little pond, and I think that these kids are either getting stressed, prepared, or trying to fit in, so when they're in high school, they think that they have a chance. Because the truth is, high school's a rat race. College is a rat race. It all is a rat race. Life is. But the weird thing is that we're all fighting for the same thing, to just exist and to get through every day, because guess what? It's life. There's no winners. None of us are going to get out of here alive. When you're in grade 6, 7, 8, you're really starting to come into yourself. You're really starting to learn who you are, who your friends are, what you like, who you're becoming. And that is absolutely scary. And I can't imagine, on top of trying to figure out all of these things about yourself, you have to deal with things like bullies. The truth is, and I'm going to call out you bullies right now, the people that make the comments, the people that move their chairs back into Cara hurting her as she walked by, They are insecure, tiny little people where, you know what, they're probably more insecure than Clara is about herself. Because Clara wouldn't do that to people because she doesn't have that inside of her. I have learned time and time again, and let me tell you this, because as an adult I have learned the people that hurt you are the most hurt people that you will ever meet. For me, I had a lot of it go on in my family, along with lots of other kids out there, and I'll tell you, those family members, broken. Those kids that were so horrible to me, broken. So many people since then that had bullied to me had come to me and said, you know what, Celina, I'm so sorry for how I treated you. Now, did it take me getting famous on the internet for that to happen? Yeah, it did. And I hate that. I hate that even more. I remember I bullied one person once and I felt so sick about it that not only did I apologize in high school, it ate me alive. And one time I saw her in a drive-thru and I said to her, I am so sorry. And she didn't even remember it happening. When I was in grade 7, my mom got sick. My mom got sick really, really fast. My dad was in Japan, and I heard a crash, and my mom was on the floor, and I thought that she was dead, and it flipped my world upside down. I started listening to angry music, I started wearing black, I started acting out. But so did the rest of the world against me, because in this time when I needed people and care the most, they weren't there. They criticized me for it. I had some close friends, but I was getting weird, and they were uncomfortable with that. You're 14. You do not feel okay in your own body at 14. I remember going into grade 9. I was so excited. I remembered seeing these cool punk girls and I just wanted to be their friends, but of course they wanted nothing to do with a Niner. But there were other groups of girls. I was trying too hard to fit in. I was going to the smoker pit. I was trying to make friends with all these different groups, but I didn't fit, and that's the truth. Sometimes you just don't fit. And when you're that young and you have to find company in yourself, when the voices in your head are so loud, it's not really a safe place. I was in a public school. These girls were horrible. I wore a lot of black, a lot of makeup that really shouldn't have mattered. It really shouldn't have, because inside, I was a really nice person. And if these girls would have taken any time at all to talk to me, they would have known that. There was a trio of girls. Think Mean Girls, in a way. They hung out in the smoker's pit. They were cool. They were cool. They had made up a rumor, chosen me among all of the grade 9s, and decided to tell people that I skinned animals alive and I impaled them on fences. That rumor lived, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew, to people saying that I had stolen their family pets. They thought it was hilarious. One time, in English class, I left class. They were in the hallway. I had gone to the washroom. I was on the toilet, I had headphones on, and I didn't really think anything about it. I saw feet around the bottom, I popped my headphones off, they were laughing, they were snickering. I said hello. There was no response. Then I smelled burning. The girls were lighting pieces of paper on fire and dropping them over the side. They had brought a garbage can in, jumped on top, and put wet paper towel around the sprinklers. I tried to get out. They wouldn't let me out. I went to the principal, nothing was done. 2 days later, I'm walking home. These same girls threw beer bottles at me, hitting me in the head. People around laughed. No one said this is who did it. No one said I'm sorry this is happening. No one said, hey, let me walk with you. These girls pushed me into lockers, their forearms smashed against my throat until I thought I was going to pass out. Teachers walked by. Nothing happened. I stopped going. I laid in bed and I told my mom, I'm not going to go to school anymore. I'm not going to go. Because the things I've told you were just some of them. It was all day, it was every day, it was notes in my lockers. It was boys peeing through the grates of my locker, or pouring it in, I don't know how. A lot of it just because I listened to loud music and I wore black and I was a little different and chubby. People were talking to me like I was the biggest person in the world. I was 150 pounds. I don't get it. People were making fun of me for things that weren't even reasons to make fun of me. Yes, I was weird. And yes, I did weird things. And maybe some people think it was warranted. And I'm sure there's people out there that think that. But I was in a free fall. My mom was living in and out of hospitals. My dad and I were never able to connect, and it was not a good relationship, and I just didn't feel like I had a great place. My mom was sick, so before school, it was mom. At lunch, it was mom. After school, it was mom, and I was getting to a place where I was going to crack. I spent all my time in bed, and I said, I'm not going to school anymore. I'm just not going to go. My mom went to the guidance counselor, Mr. Robinson, a wonderful person, and said, I don't know what to do. I remember pushing her in her wheelchair, and I sat there in silence, and she just said she won't go to school. She wants to switch schools. I don't want her to switch schools. And that guidance counselor said, let her. So I went to a Catholic high school. I thought, this will be great. My hair will be black, I will wear a uniform, and I will fit in like I'm supposed to. No one will notice me. I was new, of course they noticed me. I was halfway into the grade 9 year. We had come back from Christmas break. It was January, second semester of grade 9. Everyone had already made their friends. I didn't expect the Catholic boys to be worse. I don't know how, but it was worse. There's this one boy named Ben who called me the darkness. He would laugh in my face. He would throw things at me. There was a boy on my bus who was horrible. He threw a rock at my head, cracked it open, got a stitch, went to the hospital. The school had suspended him. Later on, his mother called into the school saying that I had made up the whole thing and I had come and apologized because he was having a hard time getting into college. My phone was taken on the bus and thrown out the window. Again, these are just the smallest parts. Was I weird? Yes. But that didn't mean I deserved that. I was having a hard time at home. I was having a hard time with people. There was no soft place for me to land. So I made a horrible decision. I didn't want to be here anymore. At all. My mom was sick. And for months and months and months, I had taken pills of hers. Kept them in this little Kleenex pouch. And I had this crazy fight inside myself between taking it and not taking it. I wanted to be here because I felt like I'd seen movies and I knew that things could change. And I felt like I could help change things. I wanted to change things so bad. I went to school one day with this girl, horrible, had decided to go down to the principal's office and tell them I was on mushrooms. We had just left English class. She went there. I was in my next class. They called down and asked me to come to the office. The principal said, hey, did you do this? And I said, no. And like, okay, well, we're going to send you home. And I said, I didn't do anything. I'm like, I'll pee in the cup. I didn't take mushrooms. I didn't do anything. Like, look at me. I'm completely fine. That principal sent me home. I hadn't done anything. That was it. I called a crisis line. I said, this is my plan. I need you to stop me. I had a horrible relationship. Things at home were not good because my mom was sick. And my dad, of course, was upset with that because of that. And I just felt like I was going to implode. I remember sitting on the front porch with a suitcase. And I had that pouch in my hand. I was waiting for the police to come and pick me up and take me to the hospital. I was at the bottom. I was at the very bottom of my life. And I took that pouch and I took those pills and I popped them through a crack in the foundation of our porch. Because no one else was giving me a chance, but I was going to give myself a chance. Even though I did not feel like it. And I sat in that hospital for a week. And I didn't feel like I was meant to be there. I learned the stories of all these different people around me. And I felt stronger. It was a hiccup. It was a blip in the radar of my life. I remember getting out of the hospital. The principal wanted to see me before I went back to class. And I went into her office and she was crying. And she said, I'm so sorry that I didn't believe you. I feel like this is my fault. And I said, it wasn't you. It wasn't just you. And then I went to drama class. And I sat in the auditorium and I walked 3 seats in and I sat down and that boy, that Ben, just went, well, the darkness is back. What I know now and I didn't know then was that he was going through a lot too. But I don't know why I had to be his punching bag. There were people that stood up for me. There was Katrina, there was a lot of different people, but there were a lot of people who didn't. But the truth is I was free falling. And the fact that we are here, we are now, we are in 2024, and the fact that these little problems are still taking over these schools. I hear about more suicides now than I did then. I live in a town, not anymore, but I lived in a town of about 35,000 people. In 2016, for about 8 months of the year, every month, a different student in our tiny town took their lives. When there's school shootings and stuff, we look at these kids and we look at them and we say, well, maybe it was the bullies, maybe it was the parents. Do you just wonder what everything would be like if we just chose to be kind? If we just chose instead to hold our fucking tongues and just look at that person and pretend and put yourself in their feet and imagine what they're feeling like if we took 5 seconds before we make a decision, because the truth is the only control that we ever have is how we react. How I react to a situation is the only control that I have in any situation. And the fact that this Cara got up and a boy shoved his chair into her so hard to bruise her stomach, that was his reaction and that was his choice, is disgusting. We all have our own stories. We don't know why that person's speeding on the road. Maybe they are just a dick, but maybe someone's dying in the hospital. Maybe, maybe that chubby girl eats because it helps her not hurt so much. Because I know that that's where a lot of my things come from. Maybe that girl who doesn't eat, maybe that's the only way she feels control. Maybe that kid is wearing the same clothes because guess what? Their life's not as great as yours and they don't have maybe a dual income family or enough money. Maybe they didn't even have breakfast this morning. You don't know what's going on in that person's life. What you know is what's going on in yours. And if you were hurting and somebody was mean to you, you go, what's wrong with them? So if there's one message that you can take from this video, it's to remember that you have control over how you react to things. And it doesn't matter what that other person is going to think later on about what you said or how you acted, because the truth is no one is as concerned with you as yourself. I just wonder what this world would be like if everybody took a second before they reacted and if everyone just chose kindness, because I have done that for a few years now. And it's a game changer. Sometimes forcing being happy and forcing being kind can actually make you. Didn't feel like force for me. I think sometimes the kindest people come from the hardest situations. And I have a million stories I could tell you guys. I could write a book this thick. But instead of living in that trauma and that pain, I just try to make life a little bit easier for people around me, and that fuels my soul. And I can promise you that you'll feel a lot better about yourself if you treated people the way that you wanted to be treated. And Akara, if you see this, I think you're a wonderful girl. And I think that you're going to go really far, and I think a lot of these little asshole bullies are going to peak in high school, and they're going to apologize to you one day. And I'm very, very sorry, because I have been you, and I have been where you are. And I promise you, you will look back on these days, and yeah, they'll hurt, but you'll be glad you're here, and you'll be in a different place, and it'll be good. I don't want to say things like it'll make you stronger, or you're glad it happened, because it doesn't feel like that, and I can tell you that as an adult. But I want to say I'm proud of you for speaking up. Because you're a voice for the people who are too afraid to talk about it. You're the voice for the girl who is sitting in her room crying. And maybe someone saw that video, or a bully has seen that video of you speaking, and it has changed the way that they're going to react and how they're going to treat people. So I thank you for being strong enough to have a voice. And I am very sorry that this is your reality right now. So until next time, Boo Crew, I love you. Make great choices. I believe in you.
So, as you guys know, that was her story. I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to let you guys know that she said so much that I relate to, and I'm sorry if you saw me reacting. I couldn't help but react. I think it was just easier for just let her say what she wanted to say, and then say my side of things. I'm not going to go too far into it because I'm going to make a separate playlist video of me, but I will say this, so I can resonate a lot with what she went through. I was in middle school when I really started to feel the heaviness of being bullied. I was always a scrawny kid until I had about second, third grade. But then yes, kids will say, call me fat or something like that every now and then, but I really didn't. I don't know if there was something in my brain wasn't wired correctly, because I would somehow take this and really I would dissociate from it. I want to attack my mic. But I dissociated, I guess, from it, because I never took, I tried to, well, that's their opinion, whatever, I guess as long as I knew that I always had at least one friend or something like that, that I knew that it was going to be okay, that I didn't have to worry about feeling down or hurt or alone, because I had at least one friend, and I had at least somebody that I could talk to, somebody that, didn't treat me bad, but they also didn't stick up for me. They didn't, stand up to the bullies. They also did, but they weren't friends with the bullies, but they didn't stick up for me when the bullying happened. So it became this thing where in my head, where I thought, well, maybe this is just normal. Maybe they're just saying these things because I am. But maybe I didn't see it as a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe this is why I need therapy, because it's something in my brain. It didn't click to what the pain and hurt that most people, especially women, who talk about going through similar situations, they all had that in common, and that feeling. And I sit back and I think about, okay, what was I feeling back then? But I didn't feel the same way. I mean, I was like, I didn't feel like, I didn't run in my room and cry after school. I didn't feel any of that. I knew that I did long to be, I knew why guys, I had crushes, and they would know what I crushed on them, but I knew why they wouldn't go out with me. I knew why they wouldn't, be my friend. I knew why some of the other girls would not invite me out to their parties or to hang out on the weekend or go to the movies and stuff like that, but I also have my own little group of friends who were probably also misfits as well, and maybe I got lucky. And I found a tribe, at an early age. I don't know, but I guess what had happened was that once I got into high school, though, because when I started in 9th grade, I went to a performing arts school the first half of my 9th grade year, and there it was hard. It was rigorous. It was like I found my people, but I didn't find my people because we were all weird. And so I started becoming more of a hermit crab, I guess, in a way. And then, but my grades started suffering and so forth. And then I felt like maybe I just need to go back to being to a normal, regular high school. So, like Celina went from regular public school to a Catholic school mid ninth grade. I did the same thing. I went from a performing arts school to my regular home public school, my regular public school that I'm supposed to go to that was in my neighborhood, because the performing arts school was a further distance away, so I had to take a bus and then go there. So I had to go to my actual home, my regular, they call it your home school, which I'm trying not to make the word homeschool sound like homeschool, like home, doing school at home. I'm meaning they call it your home school because it's the high school that's closest to your home. So I just want to clarify that. So I transferred right after Christmas break and started in January and went to my regular high school. And I was terrified in a way because it was like, it's not the greatest neighborhood. It's a regular public school, and I had to deal with people, all walks of life. And I went from a school where people wanted to be there and loved to be there, and it was smaller, to now I'm in a school where there's hundreds, thousands of kids, and it's bigger and it's more confusing, and I have to learn my new schedule and learn where my new classes are at, and then I have to deal with other kids that are disruptive, fights in the hallways, gangs, things like that. I had to deal with all that on top of, and that's just my own personal safety, on top of now I basically entered a lion's den where now I'm a target, where I'm going to get bullied even more so, because this high school is a feeder school from other middle schools that were in the area who didn't even know who I was in middle school. So I was like, okay, well, I wonder where my friends are from middle school, who maybe I can find them, and then, I'll be okay. And it was so hard to find them. But once I did find them, then I found out they're just as much of a misfit as I was. I was like, it was hard because I didn't want to be a misfit. And yet I was, and I became this gothic girl. I went from happy, cheery, wannabe, wearing everything from Delia's catalog. Yes, I'm old. Delia's. AKA Forever 21, I wanted to wear, basically dress like Lizzie McGuire over here. That's who I wanted to be. To all of a sudden, I'm now over here listening to heavy metal, and my parents would let me dye my hair black because I'm a natural redhead and it would look weird or whatever, but I did chop it all off. I had the spiky hairdo. I had the dark purple as possible I could, hairstyle. We didn't know what to wear uniforms back then, but so I'd wear, my parents were poor, so I couldn't afford wearing like the baggy Jinko jeans. I improvised. I had an older brother who was bigger in size than me, so I would wear his jeans and I would just kind of tighten them up with a belt or something like that so they fit me on the waist, but they were big and baggy in the legs and they were long, so I kind of passed off as knockoff jeans, Jinko jeans, and I would make my own because my family didn't come from money, and I would, and I remember I had my mom would I would ask her to make me certain shirts. I'd pick out the most outrageous, like some silk, tie-dye looking materials, and I would have her, make me a shirt, or, I I dressed weird, and I don't know if that was my way of, instead of binge eating my emotions, I was dressing outrageous. It's like I owned it. I was asking to be talked about instead of trying to blend in with the wall. I was standing out like I am a freaking like a what do you call it, like an alarm, like going off, I'm like, hey, here I am walking down the hallway, but I tried to not let it bother me. I mean, I had neon orange polyester bell-bottom pants. I wore those to school. I wore, just odd things. And I was into the alternative, the grunge, and the music. I learned it. And I started trying to hang out with these people that I became my crew. And that's what got me through each day. But I secretly was in love with a guy who was kind of into that stuff, but he would have nothing to do with me because his mom was on the school board. And if you're listening to this and you remember, y'all know who exactly I'm talking about. I had a huge crush on him, and we ended up somehow connecting back on Instagram over the last year or so, but he would have nothing to do with me back in school. It's almost like he would be like embarrassed to even talk to me, to even, have anything to do with me. And I think it's because, how dare. One, we have two different family aspects. I come from lower middle class. He has upper middle class. And he lived on the other side of the tracks, and I lived on the other. And they had there's those people. Those people, they had the girls, the guys, they all hung out together. And then you had people like me who came from, for my friends, they were either low middle class, or they were upper middle class, but they didn't care. They didn't portray that same family aspect as the other group of people. And so I ended up, but I tried I tried everything I could possibly do to try to get this dude to acknowledge me. I felt a connection to him. It wasn't just so much of, it's a infatuation crush, because I had crushes while I still liked this dude. I knew there was something different about him. I knew it was weird. I knew there was something different and weird about him. And I think what happened was, as an adult, he is weird. I'm talking about artistic weird, and that's cool. He has a girlfriend, or I don't know if he still does or not. But what's so weird though is he got in touch with me on Instagram a couple of years ago, and we started talking, and I admitted to him, I said, you know what, you're still not bad looking to me. I still feel some kind of connection with you. But I think it's more of an artistic connection with him. I think we could be the greatest of friends. But then he took it to another level where he would tell me that he just wants to do things to me sexually, and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you have a girlfriend, I'm married, I have a kid, I'm like, no, I was like, how's that gonna work? I said, not only that, if you are attracted to me now, which I'm even bigger than I was back then, why didn't you come to me back then? And was it because you were embarrassed because I was the big girl? What would your friends say? What would your parents say? What, I didn't fit the mold? No pun intended. It's like, really? So it made me, I'm glad he tried to ask if I would hook up with him, whatever. I'm glad I didn't, because when I told him no, but we can still be friends, I still want to talk to you, I still feel a connection with you, he blocked me. He stopped talking to me suddenly. He stopped responding to me. I was like, and I was confused. I would message him and I would be like, why are we not talking anymore? Why? Because I didn't give you what you wanted. Were you going to exploit me? You just wanted a fantasy? Did you have a fantasy of being with a big girl and now you want to just fulfill that now that we're adults, consenting adults? But you didn't want to do that back then, right? You didn't want to do that when we were teens, and so forth, when we probably could have gotten away with it. No. So, I mean, you were all up in your pride, and I'm kind of glad. I'm glad I didn't hook up with him. I'm glad I didn't fall for it, but I am sad that I probably would miss what could have been or would been a good friendship with this guy. I'm not mentioning names, but if you if you're watching this and you went to middle school with me or high school with me, you kind of know who I'm talking about. I did have another guy friend who I knew since elementary school, and I did have a small crush on him as we got older too, and I could understand why he would go out with all these other girls, but not with me. I didn't understand him. Think of it like Dawson's Creek. Think of it like, okay, so he's, I think, like there's Dawson, like he was Dawson and I was Joey. Like we grew up together. We lived in the same neighborhood. We came from similar households. I mean, it was like we really click and we are the same personality. I just didn't understand it. And of course, he's not a big dude. He's thin, so forth and everything. And I don't know if maybe he was trying so hard to fit in with these other people that, that when he finally did get in with them, he had to date the right girl. He couldn't date me. And maybe, and I didn't understand this because when we were alone, he would flirt with me. He would say things to me, and it confuses me. And it confused me a lot because he would, even my parents saw this. They would mention it. They're like, he says things to you. He acts like you are, that you guys are together, but only when you guys are hanging out alone. Not when you're at school. Suddenly, you're just friends at school. That's it. You're nothing more than that. And it made no sense. And I was like, I guess I was so... My self-esteem was so low, which I didn't know then, but I do know now, looking back. It was so low to the point that I guess I was okay with that. I was okay to settle. I settle a lot, and I shouldn't. I deserved better. I deserved a better friend. I deserved a better relationship with a better guy. I now know this guy. That guy he's gay. He's been in a relationship with somebody else for many years now, and they got their own life together. And we broke our friendship off several years ago over something stupid. But I mean, it is what it is. 30-some years of friendship down the drain over something really stupid, and yeah, it is what it is. I guess it's so weird, though, growing up, being plus size, you become it's almost like you fall in two groups. There's one group of plus sized children who are aware they're plus size and they hate it. They get bullied and they stress eat. They self-harm. They do all these things. And then you got this other group over here, which I believe I kind of fall into, where you almost brush it off and own up to it, and you actually you don't show that it bothers you. Even when you're at home alone, you don't. You're still. I didn't stress eat. I did not eat my feelings, and I saw therapists before about this, and they're like, I'm not an emotional eater. I I don't know why. It's like there's something broken in my brain. Like, dude, why aren't you not acting out? Maybe, and it's not that I didn't care. Because I did feel pain. I did feel it. I hated it. Maybe I had so much anger that I turned that anger, I neglected that anger. I never let that anger come out. And now as a parent, I had a daughter, and my daughter she's built the same way as I am. She went through the same similar issues. Problem is though, she went the opposite direction. And unfortunately, but I picked up on the signs. I picked up on when she got into middle school. She told me it started earlier than that, but I really picked up on it in middle school, and this is why I chose to homeschool her, was because she got to the point where she was not eating. I would pack her lunches, or she'd pack her lunch, and the next day, like, she'd be in a hurry, so I was like, I'll make her lunch for you then, while you're finishing getting ready to go to school. And I would open her lunchbox up, and there's still, her full lunch is still in there. And I'm like, what are you eating? What would you eat for lunch? Oh, I ate my lunch. She would lie to me. She would lie and tell me she ate her lunch. And I wouldn't be mad at her. I wouldn't call out her, but it was concerning to me. Instead of stress eating, she went the opposite direction. And it bothered me a lot. And I got to a point, I finally sat down and talked with her, and I think I told her this behavior it's not okay. And what's bothering you? She felt, it wasn't like kids were bullying her at school. It was more like she saw that she didn't match her other friends. She had friends who I believe were severely underweight, but that's who they are. They were built that way. They're the type of people that can eat and never gain a pound. So it was like that. And when she stands next to them in photos, she looks huge compared to her friends, and it's mind-boggling. And it's like, I wanted to explain to her that sometimes some people are meant to be, there are people, I believe in this world, there are people meant to be of a bigger size. I'm not talking about my 600-pound life type of people. That is to the extreme. I'm talking about people that are built like Celina, people that are built like me. Yes, I probably need to lose a couple pounds, but have hardly any health issues that are contributed by the weight. And you've been like this all your life, and when you try to lose weight, your body goes into this mode where it attacks itself, and you are awful. You feel awful. You don't feel you're like yourself. You may look pretty, but you do not. Your blood labs, your psychological well-being, your emotional well-being, everything is not right. But when you were bigger, you feel fine, you feel right. So there's like this small, like, you got two extremes of being very, very severely underweight and being very, very severely obese. And you have to find, there's this big gap between them, and you have to find that middle ground of what is comfortable for you. Never mind anybody else's point of view of because for them, where they're at, it may not be where they should be at, so that's why they're acting out. This is why they get mad at you, because you are in that zone in your life where you should be at. And this is why a lot of doctors are getting rid of the BMI charts. They're not going by them anymore. There's a lot of pediatricians that are getting rid of them. They're telling kids, okay, yes, you're on the shorter side. It may be beneficial for your joints, for your back, for anything like that. You may feel better if you did lose a few pounds, but don't focus on that. Let's focus making sure your mental health is better, because the mental health, once it gets better and gets healed, and the trauma, it gets fixed, the rest of you will follow through. You may not lose that weight, but you'll feel better, even though you haven't lost a pound. Or you haven't gained a pound, but you will feel better. You won't be stress eating. You won't be doing all these things. And I think Celina has got it. I think yes, I do. I think she still has some issues. Yes. Do I think that she goes and gets help? Yes. Do I think that she understands the average person out there? Yes. And this is why I'm sharing her message. This is why I'm also sharing mine. I believe, yes, the bullying needs to stop, but it's not going to. And we know it's not. Bullying's been around for centuries. It's been around for anybody that's different than the next person next to them. Bullying's gonna happen. You can bully somebody by just looking at them, just staring at them. You can bully somebody by the words you type on the screen. You can bully somebody by giving them words and talking to them and sitting there saying that, calling them out for it. You can bully them by passively mentioning them and using pictures or cartoonish styles. You can bully someone on the internet through a screen because you don't have the guts to say it to their face. Or you can bully somebody by even it's not just children, it's adults too. It's other YouTubers against other YouTubers. It's against people who don't understand. You may, like Celina says, they are going through some kind of issue, so you happen to be their punching bag. But I'm sorry. You get to choose whether you want to accept to be their punching bag or not. And if you choose not to be their punching bag, then you stand up. You do what's right. You own up to it, and you tell them that you will no longer be their punching bag. You will kill them with kindness. You will ignore the words. You won't ignore them if they have something intelligent to say. But other than that, you will just move on. Because there are too many people in this world, and not two of us are alike. Even twins, they're not even alike. So I'm going to leave you guys with this, though, because I can keep going, is that I am going to post I may put this actually in my vlog or a mental health or something like that playlist, and I hope you guys watch this. I hope you guys take it to heart. I hope you guys share it. I will tag the link to this specific video if you want to check it out. Or also help you get to her page so you can subscribe if you want to her. But I tried to find the original TikTok, the young girl in it, but I cannot find it. I'm assuming one of several things happened. Either TikTok made her take it down, or it got because she probably. It could be an age thing. It could be her talking about bullying. I don't know. We already know TikTok is a bully system within itself. YouTube is a bully system within itself. Social media as a corporation is a bully within itself. I mean, we already know that by pitting out how I could put out as many videos as I want, and I could talk about the greatest things ever, and my videos would never get seen, or I won't get the views. Regardless of how many subscribers I have, nobody watches my videos. But does that stop me? No. Because I feel it's healing for me, and if I want to say something, I'll say something. Eventually, somebody will resonate with me. Eventually somebody will see it, because if I stop, how am I expecting to reach my goals that I want to get to, and then go from there? Anyway, so guys, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video to a point where you learned something. Be better, be nice, be kinder. I'm not saying you have to be, you can't speak your mind. I'm not saying you have to condone obesity. I'm not saying you have to condone, certain behaviors. I'm just saying that you can choose your words and also choose how you react to them. I hope if you are a parent out there, I hope you sit down with your children and talk to them, or even show them a video like this so they understand the repercussions of their actions and their words. And hopefully, and if they are being bullied themselves, that they know that they're not alone and that they can continue to move on. As always, guys, if you have any issues or anything you want to talk about as far as, your feelings and emotions, reach out to the crisis hotline, reach out to the self-exiting numbers. I was trying to find the right word to say it because I can't say it out loud here, but you guys understand. I will also put those numbers. It's a national lines, so it doesn't matter where you're at, especially here if you're in the U.S., it's easy to get to. It's all spells contact emergency support if you needed it, or if you really just need to walk into any hospital emergency room and just tell them how you're feeling. They will get you the help you need. There's no shame and no harm in doing it. And if you are under the age of 18, you don't have to worry about your parents being called or whatever it is if you don't want to, because the laws have changed. And as well as if you are not alone. And feel free to comment down below if you would like a friend to talk to. I'm always here, and I always respond. I'm not as mean. It seems like most of the responses I do respond as I seem like I come off being mean. It's only because I don't like, the only comments I ever get are ones that are very judgmental or very unkind and disrespectful. So but I am cool with freedom of speech as well as, but I'm not one to sit there and say that, if you say what you want to say, but you may have free to speak, but you're not free from the repercussions of the words you choose to say. Just saying. So, I hope you guys have a great day. And this video's been very, very lengthy, very long. I've said enough. I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope you have a good week ahead. And look forward to more videos. I'm working on them. I think that I'm gonna really try to dig deep into it this week. Sometime I'm gonna sit down and go ahead and start, continue. Well, not really start, but really continue on working on my Jim Henson video, and as well as I'm working on a new I believe cultish video, as well as, guys, I have another weird video, but I gotta figure out how to do it where it doesn't show all my information. But guys, apparently I believe I have evidence of a check that was given to me back in 2011 that was possibly part of the money laundering scheme, and I'm glad I never cashed it. Just saying. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. And make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and check out Celina SpookyBoo's YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to her channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. And also, Celina, if you see this, love you, girl. And I will check out that movie. Bye.